This is KGW News at Sunrise.
He had a knife that was just inches away from her abdomen. He said, "Don't make any sound or I'll kill you."
Yeah, we're talking about an all too common problem in Portland these days. Armed robberies and thefts that are targeting local liquor stores. We're going to hear from one store owner in Northeast Portland, one of many store owners asking for the state's help to curb these crimes.
And Hurricane Fiona caused major damage in Canada and Puerto Rico. Now another hurricane is moving toward Florida coming up this morning when forecasters expect Ian to hit land.
And today, by the way, is also National Pancake Day.
Ooh.
Who knew?
On a Monday.
Monday.
It's a good way to start the week.
I guess so.
Sunrise photographer Chad Dehart apparently knew it was National Pancake Day. He's getting ready for the occasion out at Slappy Cakes in Southeast Portland. This is a great spot, especially if you have younger kids. I don't mean like 2 or 3 year olds. I'm thinking prime ages, maybe 8, 9, 10, because they can make their own pancakes right there in the booths. Each booth is set up with its own griddle.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
very
fun.
cool. So more from Slappy Cakes coming up throughout the show this morning.
They open at 8. That's why it's so quiet, but I want to see them make some stuff.
Yeah.
We will do that a little later, but happy Monday, everybody.
Yeah.
Hope you had a great weekend. It was toasty yesterday.
Yeah, we hit 90 in Hillsborough and 90 in Troutdale, 88 out of PDX, and we'll be the same, we think, this afternoon. So here we go. Let's get you out the door. Right now, 61 degrees out at the airport. So by the time, most of you get outside, it'll be in the 50s. This will be another sunny, warm day. We have temperatures pretty much equaling yesterday. 76 degrees at the bus stop, 57 at the bus stop early this morning. Then kids are outside at recess. It'll be mid-70s. Then they get out. We'll be climbing up into the 80s. This shows 86 degrees around 3 o'clock, and we'll probably go up from there. As I mentioned, the high could get all the way to 88, and that's your forecast for today.
All right, summer not giving up yet, Rod. Let's get to our top news story this half hour. Portland liquor store owners are asking the state to help slow down a steep rise in robberies and thefts in recent years. So the OLCC is now working with the Oregon Retailer Crime Association to find ways to tackle this issue. KGW's Blair Best talked to one owner who says his store has been hit several times.
Near the corner of Northeast 33rd and Sandy Boulevard sits this more than a decade-old liquor store. But this year, business stands out from the rest.
I'm certainly disheartened by it.
Dan Miner runs Hollywood Beverage, and he's talking about a rise in store theft.
Well, I'm certainly concerned, particularly with robbery, where there's threats of violence.
He says his store has been the victim of multiple armed robberies this year, but he's not alone. According to the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission, that's the state agency overseeing liquor stores, shoplifting claims are up more than 450% since 2018. Burglaries, that's when someone breaks into the store after hours, is up more than 500%. And as for armed robberies, at least 4 have been reported this year. 3 of them happened at this Hollywood Beverage.
I had a cashier who was threatened for her life by the robber. He had a knife that was just inches away from her abdomen. He said, "Don't make any sound or I'll kill you."
About $500 was also stolen from the register, and he spent thousands on break-in repairs. Aside from the brazenness of the crimes, liquor store owners say people are stealing multiple bottles at a time. About 2 months ago, here at Hollywood Beverage off Sandy Boulevard, a group of people stole 18 bottles at once. The owner says they often don't know that it's gone until they check the security camera footage. And by that point, it's too late.
We're really limited because we can't physically confront a shoplifter or a thief. It's just verbal. We're asking them to return the bottle, to not steal. And that's almost always ignored, of course.
In Portland, when someone shoplifts, the store owner should call 911 if the crime is in progress. Otherwise, call non-emergency. Miner says he's been told to file online police reports. Most have gone unanswered. We reached out to the Portland Police Bureau about this, but haven't heard back yet. Meanwhile, Miner and other store owners are taking their concerns to the state.
When we can't count on civil order, I think the state has an increased responsibility.
And as we know, this string of theft isn't happening at just liquor stores. It's affecting small businesses across the city. Blair Best, KGW News.
The U.S. Postal Service is offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of a man who robbed a mail carrier at gunpoint. This happened last Tuesday afternoon. The guy ambushed the mail carrier and held a gun to their head at a home near Northeast 10th and Hancock. The robber demanded the mail bag, then took off.
When this mail carrier whose assigned route is in that same area has to go back there the next day, that can be a very emotional and difficult situation for them. Anytime you're a victim of a violent crime, anytime someone holds a gun to your head, I think that has an effect on everybody.
The robber is described as white, 5'6" to 5'8", with graying stubble on his face. He was also wearing a tan fishing hat, a black t-shirt, and possibly black shorts. Anyone with information should contact the U.S. Postal Inspection Service.
All right, let's get to some other local headlines on this Monday morning. Starting with this, Portland police are investigating a deadly shooting that happened in Northeast Portland at about 3:30 yesterday morning. Officers found a man dead outside of a hotel on Northeast Sandy Boulevard. So far, no arrests have been made. If you have any information on this shooting, you're asked to call Portland Police. Meanwhile, Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue says a vehicle fire caused damage to this apartment complex in Beaverton. This happened yesterday afternoon at about 3:30 on Southwest Allen Boulevard near Lombard. The fire damaged the corner of that building along with some trees in the area. The 9 people affected by this fire are being helped out now by the Red Cross with emergency housing. And final headline here, a Yamhill County court ruled that the Newburgh School District's ban on what it considered to be political or controversial symbols like Pride and Black Lives Matter flags is unconstitutional. The decision comes in response to a lawsuit filed by the ACLU last December on behalf of a Newburgh school employee. The lawsuit challenged the policy banning those symbols that was put in place by the school board last year. As of this morning, the district has not commented on the ruling. And that's a look at some of this morning's local headlines.
We also want to talk about weather on the East Coast for a moment, starting with Hurricane Fiona. On Saturday, the storm slammed parts of Canada after devastating Puerto Rico early last week. It brought heavy rain, strong winds, and storm surges so powerful they ripped homes right off their foundations.
And there was actually a house behind me, right where we're standing, and that's completely gone now, and we watched that one just disappear.
Saw big waves come up over these 2 buildings right here that are now, my neighbors' homes are now destroyed.
Authorities say a 73-year-old woman died when she was swept out to sea. No other deaths have been reported. In the meantime, hundreds of thousands of people in Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, New Brunswick, and other parts of the region don't have any power again this morning. Canadian armed forces are deploying to help with the cleanup.
As Canada cleans up from Fiona, Hurricane Ian, upgraded by the National Hurricane Service this morning, is currently in the Caribbean. It's heading towards Cuba, and its ultimate path is towards Florida. Residents in Tampa are getting prepared, filling up gas tanks, sandbags, collecting supplies at this point. Its track could still change, but forecasters predict it will make landfall in Florida later this week, bringing heavy rain, hurricane-force winds, and life-threatening storm surges.
Rod is here now with more on that. This is no joke. They really are watching that closely.
So Tampa Bay under a hurricane watch already as the National Hurricane Center starts to lay out the roadmap for where this storm is going to go. Could be 140-mile-per-hour sustained winds when the eye is just offshore from Florida midweek. So that's a very strong Category 4 storm. Here you can see the very latest imagery. Cuba is the next landfall spot to be hit. Let me rush over here. Let me get over here. All right, here's Cuba right here. So the eye is going to track right over the western tip of this. Let's show you our tracking animation. So there it is later tonight as a Category 3, making itself over the western tip of Cuba. And then look how the path curls right up into Florida. So right now it looks like there's a Category 4 storm just offshore with potentially 140-mile-per-hour sustained winds around the eye wall that I mentioned. But it looks like the bullseye area right now is going to be somewhere in terms of landfall close to Tampa Bay, generally speaking, Wednesday night. Now here's our futurecast model. So this is just one model, not necessarily the one that I just showed you, but there it is later this evening, moving into over Cuba at 11:30. And then look at the turn. So there's the Tampa area. This actually brings the eye wall just south of Tampa Wednesday morning at 9:30, and then continues to move the storm up toward Daytona Beach with heavy rains. Again, the official track from the Hurricane Center right now keeps it out here a little bit longer and takes it up a little bit farther to the north. At any rate, all of Florida under the gun right now with great uncertainty. When I worked yesterday morning, it looked like that storm was going to go straight up into the Florida Panhandle. So there's already been a drastic change in prediction just over the past 24 hours. Okay, here at home, clouds are out to sea. We have a big ridge of high pressure overhead. This produced the warm weather we had yesterday. We are looking at some low clouds and fog this morning at the coast, expected to become partly cloudy or at least back and forth fog banks today. All inland areas will be sunny. And again, I'm going to call the National Weather Service today and see what the scoop is on Newport's thermometer being broken. It's not 35 below in Newport. That hasn't worked since I think last Thursday's when it went down. All right, later today we'll be well up into the 80s. This shows 86 in Salem. Similar numbers up through Southwest Washington, 84 up in Longview. Winds are going to be light all areas today, including out in the gorge. We'll go 88 today, 82 tomorrow. I think we get rain on Wednesday and Thursday. How much? Yeah, maybe like 15/100ths of an inch if we're good boys and girls.
At least that's the start, Rod. At least that's the start. Thank you.